I've always thought that the seventh sign of the apocalypse would be when there would be snow on the ground in the middle of November. Well, here we are. It's the end of the world as we know it. But luckily for me, I have a 2006 Subaru Outback 2.5i that will help me get through the white stuff. I drove a Legacy sedan a couple of weeks ago. It pleased me a lot, and I was really anxious to hop into this Outback and see what's the real difference between a Legacy wagon and an Outback, because of course visually they look the same, aside for a couple of aesthetic touches outside and a couple of things on the inside. It looks like pretty much the same car. However, the difference lies within a great part within the suspension. When I took off in this car, I immediately noticed how soft the suspension is in the Outback compared to the Legacy. Of course, the Outback has a higher ride height, and my car is now equipped with snow tires, which is a good thing. But the Legacy, it does have a stiffer, more sportier suspension compared to the Outback. This Outback costs $32,995. It is the base Outback, and you can get higher trim levels with a 6-cylinder engine or a turbo engine, or leather seats, or sunroof, or you name it. And the highest price you will pay for an Outback is the 3.0 VDC model, which lists for $45,995. That is not exactly cheap, and neither is this one. But it is expensive, but it also feels expensive, and I think you get your money's worth. As for the ride of the Outback, I was expecting something maybe a little marshmallow because the suspension is soft, but it is not the case. It drives pretty well. I do prefer the sport suspension on the regular Legacy models, but in all, it's a great winter car. Also, snow is here, so it's really perfect. In general, the Outback's cockpit suits me fine. It's a little on the small side, and I think people that are shopping for a mid-sized car will find it a little snug. But for me, I have no problem with that. Aside from a couple of details, for example, the handbrake lever will rest on my leg while I'm driving. A little annoying, but besides that, the rest is really functional. The switches have a nice and rich feel to it. Everything's well laid out. Sound system is good. 6 speakers, sounds great. It's upward and heads towards the liftgate. The seats are fixed low. As a seating position, it's pretty good, but in the back you'll have a trouble putting your feet underneath the front seats. So rear seat space a little cramped. As for the rest, come on, it's a winter car. Heated seats, you have heated windshield wipers, heated, of course, the back defrost, so everything is pretty good. And this car, which is a base model, comes with cloth seats. If you ask me, I think I prefer them over the leather seats that equip the higher trim level versions of the Outback. Now, which one is right for you? The Outback wagon or the Legacy wagon? Personally, if I was choosing, I would choose the Legacy wagon and not this one, because I prefer a sportier suspension. The Legacy is a firmer ride, and that's the one I prefer. Not that this one doesn't ride well, but I don't think it fits me personally. But everyone has their own taste, and you have a choice between the two, and the two are pretty distinctive, so that's what's fun about it. You can choose either the Outback or the Legacy, and you will actually feel a difference. As for the price of this vehicle, of course, like I said before, it's not cheap, but you get a pretty solid, well-built vehicle, and you have the impression that you are buying expensiveness, and your neighbors will be jealous, probably.